So today we're checking out the Nubia Z70 Ultra, which makes some bold claims, premium specs, an innovative camera system and an eccentric design, all starting at £649. But does it deliver in real world performance? In this review, we'll be checking out the Z70 Ultra Snapdragon Elite chipset, its AMOLED display and adjustable aperture camera. We'll also check out what it's like to game on this phone and daily usability to uncover its strengths and weaknesses. So is the Z70 Ultra just another high-end smartphone, or does it truly stand out? Let's find out. So we'll pop off the lid here. We've got the Nubia Z70 Ultra sitting on top, wrapped up, but we'll check that out in a little while. We get a quick start guide, a nice TPU soft case, good to see that. We've got the SIM tray, ejecting pin, 2-pin charging adapter, but Nubia do provide this conversion adapter for 3-pin in the UK. We get a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, and then the Nubia Z70 Ultra itself. We'll start off by checking out the design and build of the Z70 Ultra. Up front, we have the 6.85-inch uninterrupted AMOLED display with very thin bezels. The frame of the phone itself is made out of aluminium. The phone weighs a hefty 228 grams. My scales, it come up as 233. To the right, we have the nice and clicky volume and textured red power button, along with the dual stage camera button down at the bottom, but we'll be checking that out later. Around the bottom of the phone, we have the 3.2 gen USB-C port, a microphone, speaker and SIM card tray, which can house 2 nano SIMs, so no SD card compatibility here, unfortunately. To the left of the phone, we have the switch slider, which can be mapped to do various functions, but we'll have a look at that later too. And then up top, we have an IR blaster and another microphone. Turning to the back, we get to see the regal yellow color and the soft stardust matte, as Nubia put it. And of course, the star of the show, cameras themselves, which is a triple lens setup with lots of fancy features. And like I said, it's an eccentric design, so I have to say the phone does feel nice and premium in the hand with a good heft to it. And though it does have a flat frame, it doesn't dig into my hand at all. Build quality on here seems absolutely solid with no creaking or groaning, as you can see. It's also IP68 and IP69 rated, so it gets a big thumbs up from me from the design and build. Let's dive into the display and see what this screen really has to offer. First off, we'll go over the main specs. The Z70 Ultra comes with a 1.5K 6.85-inch AMOLED display, offering a resolution of 1216 by 2688, equating to a pixel density of 431. Refresh rate is up to 144 Hz, and we're looking at a peak brightness of around 2000 nits with support for HDR10. And for protection, it's covered by the Longixi, whatever it is, Glass Gen 2. So we'll jump into the display settings to see what customizations are available. So we have your usual kind of generic things like dark mode. We also have read mode, changes the color temperature of the screen slightly. Eye comfort gives it this kind of yellow temperature, which you can adjust. We also have color mode and temperature itself, so you can pick from colorful, standard or soft, and you can adjust the hue from the color wheel. Brightness, like I said, up to 2000 nits, and you also have sunlight mode, so it will get extra bright in actual sunlight, but we'll have a look at that later. Then we have normal things like font, display size, screen timeout. You can keep the screen on while looking, and when it comes to screen refresh rate, we have auto 60 Hz, 90 Hz, 120 Hz and 144 Hz. I'm going to leave that on auto. And then you have tiny screen display adjustments where you can adjust from low, medium and high, and adjust different things like the under display camera's area's brightness. And the Nubia Z70 Ultra comes with an always-on display, so you can turn that on from the settings, and you have various options. You can have it set to always show or display for 10 seconds after you tap the screen, or you can have a custom schedule, and you have loads of options to pick from. We'll check out the viewing angles, and even at these extreme angles, you'll notice there's a very minimal color shift slightly to a cooler temperature, which is normal behavior of an AMOLED display. Otherwise, viewing angles are really good. YouTube playback maxes out at 4K 60 FPS with HDR support, so if you're planning on watching content on here, the display's got you covered. The panel itself is manufactured by BOE, and smartphones like OnePlus 13 use BOE displays, which I'm waiting for the global release of, and we'll definitely be reviewing that when it becomes available. For Netflix, this device supports wideband level 3 unfortunately, and also supports SD playback only. There's no HDR support here, which is a shame. However, on a DRM check, this phone is capable of wideband level 1. So on Netflix, this means you won't be getting the best playback with support for only standard definition. So experience on here is not going to be the best, and that's a shame. For Amazon Prime, playback is supported at 1080p Full HD. Prime Video only allows, as far as I'm aware, 4K Ultra HD playback on televisions. We also have support for wireless casting, and you can mirror your screen or cast your media wirelessly to compatible TVs or displays on the same Wi-Fi network. Though in my case, it wasn't picking up my television. If you're looking to connect this device to an external display, we have wide output. So through the USB-C port, you can connect directly to a monitor or TV. And that's why HDMI adapter, as I have set up here, or a USB-C to USB-C connection. I wasn't too sure what the output actually is, but I'm sure it's 4K, but I couldn't find any information on how many hertz it supports. And then lastly, we'll see how this display holds up outdoor in bright lighting conditions, which unfortunately we do not get here in the UK much at all. Currently we're going through a storm. The display performs fine. Screen legibility was really good. Obviously you're going to get the usual reflections and glaze in more brighter environments, but that's expected on a glass panel. This display offers an excellent balance of sharpness, color accuracy and brightness in different conditions. So we'll talk about the speakers and the audio quality on the Z70 Ultra. Phone comes with a dual speaker setup with a bottom firing speaker and the earpiece doubling up as the second speaker. They're DTS tuned and they support high-res audio, so we can expect some decent sound from these. We'll have a look at the audio settings. If you hop into DTS sound, and you have different options to pick from, so you have smart selection, music, which allows you to pick from different equalizers, rock, classic, pop or off, and then you have movie and game as well. But we'll jump in and we'll have a listen. Bear in mind some of the volume coming up might be quite loud.
Spider-Man.
So overall, these speakers provide a balanced sound, I would say. There isn't much depth to them as I would have liked it to be. There's a smidge of bass there maybe, but nothing crazy. They're just your, normal kind of speakers that you would expect on a smartphone. The Z70 Ultra is powered by the Snapdragon Elite CPU, which offers significant performance improvement over the previous SD Gen 3. It's paired with an Adreno 780 GPU. In terms of memory, we're looking at 3 different LPDDR5X RAM options available in 12, 16 and 24 gigabytes, and UFS is 4.0 available in 256, 512 and 1 terabyte sizes, so plenty of storage options. Nubia is using their Nebula AI OS skin on top of Android 15 here, and when reaching out to Nubia regarding OS updates, they stated OS updates are available for up to 3 years and regular updates will be released monthly. So that is good to hear. When these updates are available is another story though. You can also add extended RAM up to 12 gigabytes if you choose to do so, and this is also known as virtual RAM, as the phone here is 16 gigabytes. Adding another 12 would give us a total of 28 gigabytes of RAM. When it comes to benchmarks, have a quick look at Geekbench 6. So we got a single score of 3151 and a multi-core score of 9772, so really high scores there. Compared to the Z60 Ultra on SD8 Gen 3, this is a 39% increase on single core and 37% increase on multi-core. When it comes to read and write speeds, we get a sequential write of 472 megabytes and a sequential read of 1.28, so quite high read and write speeds on the drives there. On 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme Test, we got an average frame rate of 35.43, so that's the highest I've seen on any device that I've reviewed. And then in performance monitoring, we can see the frame rate range from 23 FPS to 43, so again the highest that I've seen, and this is quite an intensive test. On Antutu benchmark, it scored 2,561,298, so that's a very high score there. On the global rankings, that puts it in third place after the Vivo X200 Pro. The SD Elite chip is a beast clearly. Again, compared to the Z60 Ultra, this is a 22% increase over the previous gen. We'll have a look at what is available in the settings. So in connected devices, we have our usual options for connectivity and things like NFC, VPN and Android Auto. Theme and personalization lets us customize various things from wallpaper, lock screen, app icons, fingerprint animation. So loads of different options here. In features, we have the settings for the camera key. You can map it to different functions, so rear camera picture mode, or you can hop into rear camera video mode, street mode, whichever one you choose. For the sliding switch, we can set it to various options such as open and exit camera, open exit game space, open exit flashlight. Z-Pop allows a pull-out tray with various functions. And then we have other things such as screen edge mistouch prevention. We have the Z Smart sidebar, and that can be activated for easy access to apps from a side swipe. And we also have AI Translate, which can provide real-time translation on calls amongst other functions. The user interface itself is akin to most Android skins with an app drawer and a unified control panel and notification center. Split screen works as one would expect. And the pop-up windows are nice and convenient to initiate and use as you please, so added productivity there if you choose to do so. App launches are blazing fast as we'd expect, and the whole interface feels super snappy, super smooth. That's all thanks to the SD Elite chip. We'll have a quick look at RAM management. I'll open up a bunch of different apps and then open up a heavier app like Call of Duty Warzone here, and then when we jump back into the apps, we can see no problem there. Apps are staying open in the background, but I have to say I do actually like the look of the skin. They have done a good job. Jump into some gaming to see how the phone handles various games. So starting off, temperatures are reasonable with CPU at 39 degrees and the GPU at 37 degrees. I'm going to have the charger plugged in and I've got it set to bypass charging. So I just want to see how that actually pans out. First game is going to be COD Warzone, and I've set everything to the highest and FPS to uncapped. You do get peak visual quality here, and then we'll start off with the CPU on the balance setting and see how it handles that. And right off the bat, we can see the FPS is hovering around the 70s. I was expecting more than that, to be honest, but we'll have to keep testing and see how things pan out. I'll switch over to Diablo mode to see if that helps bump the FPS up a bit. And the FPS has improved, but it looks like it's capping out at 91 frames per second. I haven't seen it go any higher than that. So it looks like there's some optimization issues here, maybe. Not surprising, as the ST Elite is still fairly new. And then this happened. So either the device being on charge, even though it was on bypass, has caused it to overheat, or being on Diablo mode has done that. So that's that, and I had to kind of come out of the game and let the phone cool down a little bit. And this was literally just maybe 7 or 8 minutes actually into gaming. If we have a look at the temperatures, wow, the chipset is clearly cooking here. The temperatures were hitting 80 degrees near enough, and the GPU was at 68 degrees, and the phone, when touching it, was quite hot, especially around the camera module and the top side of the frame. So I'm going to jump back in and dial the visual quality down to medium and leave the FPS to uncapped and see what happens. And we'll start off with Rise mode. And even here, it's still not hitting past that 90 FPS. It's hovering around the 60s and 70s. So that is a bit disappointing. Either that, or there's some throttling going on because the phone warmed up quite a bit. But I think it's got to do with optimization of the game itself. And after that, roughly 10-minute session, temperatures are still high. The CPU is hitting 52 degrees and the battery was at 39. Next, we'll jump into Wuthering Waves, which was recommended by someone in the comments of my testing of the Red Magic Nova tablet. Check that out if you haven't. And as usual, I've set everything to the highest possible in the graphics setting with FPS at 60, which is the highest available. And here the game is running at 60 FPS with no issues at all, with only a slight dip to 59 frames here and there. Other than that, running really smooth. And I'm not really the best at these kind of games. I'm still trying to figure it out, but at least I could play with my control pad, which was a plus. So after 23 minutes of back-to-back gaming so far, temperatures are still quite high with the CPU at 62 degrees and the GPU at 60. So it looks like it's one of those toasty processors. Next, we'll have a look at Call of Duty Mobile and the graphics settings. We can have ultra frame rate, but visual quality will be defaulted to medium. So that's the highest combination there. Here, it hits 120 FPS, no problem. Gameplay, smooth as butter, no hiccups, nothing that I noticed. Run around here, see what we got, anyone lurking about. Then we'll check out Battle Royale and see how that performs. Again, same settings as before. And we're getting a steady 120 FPS on here too, with no issues. And I have to say, playing on a screen with no cutout is honestly winning me over very much. Now when I look at a cutout screen, it's almost jarring. We'll just kind of chase each other around this big rock, and there you go. You can crawl up there if you want, mate. And then that concludes our little gaming session with a total time of 42 minutes of gaming. Battery is down to 90% and CPU sitting at 57 degrees, GPU at 51 and battery at 35. So it looks like the SD Elite is a beast of a chip, but optimization of games is going to play a massive part here. So that was gaming. So we'll check out the cameras. Starting off, we have the rear cameras, which comprises of 3 cameras itself. These being the 50 megapixel main camera, 50 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 64 megapixel telephoto camera. And the front camera, which is an under display camera, comes in at 16 megapixels. I feel like I've said camera about 100 times. The main camera is 35 millimeters and has adjustable physical aperture. And both this and the telephoto camera come with OIS. So we'll check out what the phone is capable of capturing soon. But first, we'll have a look at what the camera app itself brings us. So the different modes we have are camera family, starburst, street, pro, photo, video, and that's saying something about pre-recording. And we have Milky Way night and portrait, so loads of different modes. If we look at photo, we can see we have your kind of generic settings from the drop down here. If we hop in further, we have intelligent BE, tracking autofocus, multi-point autofocus, automatic night scene, automatic portrait. So loads of different options here. You have gesture control, underwater filming control, touch to take a photo. So it's packed full of different options. In the video, we have up to 8K recording. 4K allows you 30, 60 or 120 FPS, and 8K maxes out at 30 FPS only. And in the settings here, normal stuff, video encoder format, H.264, H.265 or HDR10. And we have tracking autofocus and things like that. And again, underwater filming control, volume key for zoom. We have your 3 different zoom levels or focal points, 18, 35 and 85 millimeters. And if you want to really dial things in, you can go to Pro mode and you have loads of different options here. Half of these, I don't even know what they are. I'm not a camera guy, but you can adjust them as you please. So it gives you granular control over so many different aspects. Settings wise, similar kind of setup, but you can choose peaking focus, histogram here, raw graph if you want that, and various other options. And then street is kind of similar, but gives you more options with the focal points or zoom levels with 18, super wide, main, and again you have loads of options with the settings button here. But we'll have a quick look at what the captures are like with different videos and photos I've taken on this phone. Testing out what the rear camera is like. Autofocus is nice and quick. Quality seems really good as well. Now 85mm lens. Checking out video recording, see what the image stabilization is like. just walking down the road. Looks like there's a bit of exposure issues, but nothing too drastic. And now we've got image stabilization or anti-shake turned on. See if that's any different from the previous video where it was off. Looks like it's a lot more stable. The Z70 Ultra comes with a 6150 mAh silicon carbon anode battery, which you can call an advanced version of the traditional lithium ion batteries, offering a high energy storage capacity, longer battery life and improved stability, to name a few advantages. It supports 80-watt fast charging. Charging from empty to full takes around 42 minutes. Unfortunately, we are missing wireless charging and reverse wireless charging here, so that's a shame. Would have been nice to see those. If we just hop into the settings, we can see what different options we have. Usual things: power saver, ultra power saver. We have turbo charge, which will charge the phone with maximum capability, but it does say the temperature would increase if doing so. We also have charge separation, which allows the device to be charged by power and not the battery, so you can turn that on and allow it to auto turn off if you'd like. And in more settings, we have scenario AI optimization, adaptive 5G, power saving settings, and then dark mode settings here. Scenario AI optimization, optimize when the apps are not in use, so kind of just dials down different apps if they haven't been used for a while. And then we have your normal kind of graphs that you can look at based on app or hardware. And in my experience, battery life on here was really quite good, considering it's 6150 milliamp. In my testing, I managed to get 2 solid days of medium to light use. Obviously, if you're using it for extensive gaming or extended video capture, things like that will obviously deplete the battery faster. But on GSM Arena's battery life testing, it managed a respectable 13 hours, near enough, of active use score. You can expect really good battery life for it, especially with the newer battery technology they're using. So thumbs up from me. We'll check out the call quality on this device. A reliable calling experience is essential. After all, these devices are meant to be used as phones. So we'll test both how it sounds through the earpiece and how voice is transmitted to other users. First, I'll test the earpiece quality to see how incoming audio sounds. Testing what the call quality sounds like through the earpiece. Mic check 1 2 1 2. See if that comes across clearly or if it doesn't. Now we'll test the call quality on the other end. So using another device, we'll listen to how this phone's microphone captures my voice during the call. The Z70 Ultra is like, so how it transmits voice to another phone. So checking that out. And this is receiving on the Moto E14. Call quality on both ends, transmitting and the earpiece itself was crystal clear for me. So overall, my conclusion is, for the price, you are getting an outstanding smartphone. Design and build, nothing to complain about there. Really good design, and I do like something that looks a bit more different to what we're so used to out there with the bland phone designs. It's not revolutionary, but little design quirks do make the difference. The SD Elite chip, I think for me, was really good. If you're using for like mundane daily tasks, you're not going to have any problems. As we saw in gaming, because of optimization issues, there might be a little bit that needs working there, but obviously this is just normal when a new chipset comes out. Over time, I'm sure that will improve. Cameras on here are outstanding. I'm used to obviously the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is my normal daily driver, which does really good videos and photos. And I have to say, Nubia with their camera setup might have surpassed that, or I would say they have surpassed what I was used to, with excellent photos, excellent zoom options, focal point, adjustable apertures, all of that stuff. So if you're really into taking pictures and videos, you're going to absolutely love this camera on here. It really does make everything it captures look really good. Other phones the Nubia Z70 Ultra would be competing with right now would be the Realme GT7 Pro, which is another outstanding smartphone. Though I haven't been able to test it myself, based on other reviews, I would definitely be checking that out. And also the likes of the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, but again, you know, a lot of these phones aren't available in the UK right now. Some of them are waiting global release, so I'm unable to get a hold of a lot of these phones. That's my review of the Nubia Z70 Ultra. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.